As I was saying in the introductory video on the age to age, this topic has made the greatest impact on me, and with my cynical and jaded approach, it happens now once in a blue moon, and such personal involvement into the topic is indeed one in a million, so it's worth dwelling on. So I'm sharing my experience, some insights and observations in this video, and I actually have no clue how long it's going to be, and I hope that you'll find everything that I'm going to say helpful and thought-provoking. I've got so much to say on the Karpman Drama Triangle theory, and getting to grips with its issue throughout my healing journey and my personal psychotherapy has made really a huge difference, and it has improved the quality of my social interactions dramatically, which is now my pride and joy. I'm sharing my personal experience of playing different roles, mostly in my family scenarios, as well as romantic relationship and even a bit of friendship, just to demonstrate how creative we are at complicating things and playing neurotic psychological games for decades. First and foremost, I used to play the victim in most family scenarios in my childhood, and there is also the influence of children's fairy tales with all these Nastenkas and Russian folklore, the images that you subconsciously try to fit in, and that contributed a lot into nurturing in me this vulnerability and helplessness, whatever it takes to avoid responsibility and make my mom, the rescuer, feel needed. I used to throw a sickie to get more attention from my parents, and even quite recently, it was such a sweet time when I broke my leg and got my mom take care of me. That was the payoff that does not seem obvious. Victimhood is common for so many of us, especially in the current situation. So it's really reflected in the way how we react to the political situation, the pressing economy, and when we deny positive perspectives, when we reject the power to change the circumstances that we find ourselves in. We do a lot of complaining and whining about unmet needs and lack of joy and pleasure in life. Rescuers around you would eagerly support you, while persecutors would add up the fire of criticism and victim blaming, like it's all your fault, or you should have left the country a while ago, things like that. That might make our wounded inner child feel even more useless and powerless, and you just dive into this self-pity. The victim will seek out a persecutor and also a rescuer who will save the day. This habit ensures that the victim triangle continues, and it will envelope more and more people in it. Sometimes we get tired of being a wet blanket and turn into a persecutor, blaming others, or a rescuer, helping others. A classic example of these changes is when a lady with an angelic Ava picture, hugging her cute kids, leaves mean and terrifying comments on social media, exercising her inner persecutor. Obviously, being the victim of domestic violence and oppressed by her authoritarian and dominating husband, she plays the villain either with her kids by blaming, shaming, criticizing, or gives vent to her aggression elsewhere, under YouTube videos or Instagram photos, trying to belittle other people's worth and achievements and put others down to feel okay and superior. They say victims are the most aggressive representatives of the media audience. Their persecution is a means of protecting themselves by making the first strike. So you be it first. It's just a habitual response, of course. Otherwise, they start to play the rescuer, fiercely defending some blogger, for example, who claims to be the victim in a conflict. Of course, without being asked and just running away from their own daily issues. And talking of my personal dramas, as I mentioned before, my mom plays a caring rescuer whenever I victimize myself, like after my trauma or when I fall ill. That gives her secure and nurturing ground to feel needed, and that makes me dependent on her, at least emotionally. However, whenever I try to exit the victim role and behave and leave the triangle, our relationships go to pieces, and I have to look for an alternative approach or stick to the old working patterns, show up as a childish, irresponsible kid, or whatever again. So this is also a nice pretext and a warm invitation to switch on a criticizing parent for her and satisfy the persecutor's ambitions. Look how easy it is to switch roles. In a conflict of 3 or 4 people in a family drama, she'll take on the victim's role and manipulate others this way, showing her sickness, offense, or bad mood, whatever. Somebody's role is to turn into the rescuer and step in to protect her, and somebody has to play the villain. So these games seem to bring maximum joy and satisfaction. And in the last 5 years, I would often play the bad guy who tries to exit the triangle by ignoring her tantrums and sticking to my guns. It turns out that if you're alone in the desire to change the situation and leave the triangle as you feel the threat, of course, your beloved ones can take it as a threat and see you as an aggressor. So we have to meet halfway there. Otherwise, it disrupts even this hard-won balance. And if you don't follow these rituals of shifting roles and playing each of them quite thoroughly, the communication just doesn't go smoothly enough. That reminds me of the story with my ex-bestie. After 3 years of friendship with her, I finally exited the triangle as the rescuer for her, supporting her like after breakups, and the persecutor sharing her aggression to men and taking pride in criticizing every new guy we meet. I promise not to indulge into gossiping and discussing our dates, and in a couple of months, we just didn't feel the need to interact at all. So we are now good acquaintances and friendly neighbors, and it makes me think that what drew us together was just the neurotic needs, and the basement for this alliance was not healthy. Exiting the triangle so brought our communication to an end, then that was quite logical. If we had kept on like this after a while, this vicious circle would have started all over again, and she wouldn't have met the love of her life, by the way, supported by my hatred for this type of guys, and so on and so forth. More than that, I used to get caught in the dread and drama triangle in my previous romantic relationship as well. And practicing my common scenario with my mom, where she acted as an aggressor and I got into the victim's mode, which was a direct invitation for my ex husband to join our lovely drama triangle to rescue me with flying colors. But honestly, that was transferred to lots of other scenarios, including other people, not only my mom. So his overprotection and total control just smothered me, and I felt I was suffocating under his love and care. He didn't mean it, of course, but being an emotionally neglected child himself, he was just trying to make up for it. By the way, being the rescuer gives you such a sweet feeling of self-importance, and you play the God, the Almighty, able to fix any problem. After divorce, I was so lost in anxiety and personal concerns that came in like a wrecking ball. So I loved playing a psychologist myself, not only with family members and friends, but also with new acquaintances and even my language learning students. And looking back, I remember focusing on their anxieties and problems. I spotted discrepancies in their well being and volunteered to sort everything out without being asked, of course, ignoring my own needs. So, you are happy to rush to help to fix any issue, but not yours. And your actually primary interest is really an avoidance of your own problems, disguised as concern for the victim's needs. So here is another trick as well. When our feelings are denied for the long time, we start projecting them on the people around us, and it can work in both ways. On the one hand, we look for these projections in other people and we hate them for these things that we are looking for in them. And on the other hand, you want to heal them and save them and teach them the right things. But in reality, it has nothing to do with these people at all, because these are only our projections, our imagination. By the way, talking of my relationship with my dad, I definitely say that they are more or less healthy from equal adult positions, though of course sometimes I take on my favorite role of the victim while my dad plays along, acting either of the other roles. And since we're both smart, sooner or later someone leaves the triangle and switches to cooperation on a healthier level. With hindsight, I should have seen the red flags in my previous life and got it all right long ago, but such scenarios serve as a lesson and things unfold at their own pace. Unfortunately, nobody taught me the theory of the drama triangle, and needless to say that David Emerald with his empowerment dynamic would have been surreal even 5 years ago for me. But intuitively, I started to feel with the course of the time in which direction to move, and with the help of my psychotherapist and lots of educative materials, I finally managed to come to grips with the neurotic nature of my interactions. But the greatest insights came to me much later in my very adult post-marital life. As for my suggestions how to break the Karpman Drama Triangle, I'd go with David's idea that the victim has to turn into the creator and take full responsibility for their life. The moment you realize you are the master of your universe and start living your life, pursuing your dreams, being creative, doing what you want and not doing what you don't want, you focus on yourself and stop looking for the audience, stop inviting people into the triangle. So this is the first step to get out of any neurotic relationships. Some kind of an ultimate remedy or versatile solution, if we can say like this. And it does not take us lots of effort, frankly speaking, and does not look like we have to transform our mindset dramatically. Kind of easy peasy, selfish, and the viable option to break free almost overnight. The persecutor's criticism and aggression can also be turned into something more constructive, and if you really understand your true needs. It's usually about the need to challenge stereotypes, boost curiosity, and encourage development. Why do we praise strict and demanding teachers? They focus on improvement and development by holding us accountable for taking action. We just have to learn to present it in a more respectful way, in a calm and friendly manner. This is actually what I had to learn myself in my communication with my granny, for example, and I wish my mom could master this skill as well in the role of the persecutor and could see me not as as an aggressor or an offender, but as a challenger. Again, according to the empowerment dynamic, now we know how it is called. It's a bit less painful in terms of playing the rescuer and exiting this role, since in my family there has always been this vibe of support and empowerment, especially in exam periods. I'm very thankful to my mom about that. And in darker times, our family members kind of united and helped each other sufficiently without smothering and overdosing, just the right amount of help and support. But in terms of toxic relationship dramas, gossiping, and some minor neurotic issues, everyone has to exercise more productive ways to coach, help with advice, and get involved in moderation. It's very important. Worrying more about providing coaching, sharing knowledge and clarity rather than ready-made solutions or radical acceptance and joining the victim's minefield to fight against the enlisted villain, as it used to happen in my early childhood when we had arguments with my younger sister. And we tried to score points and fight for parents' love and trying to attract them into our triangles so as to be loved more. So my mom, though, would still resist heavily to my recommendations to watch some educative videos or something. So I gave up any idea of coaching with her. Maybe I have to learn alternative methods and be more creative with positive reinforcements and things like that. I think it will happen with experience. It's also an ultimate solution to look at everything as a challenge, whatever it is, be it the toxicity from your loved ones or somebody playing the victim and pushing you to join in the triangle through guilt, shame, whatever. Roughly speaking, spending your life in a drama triangle actually throws you to the whole pile of challenges. And if you manage to break free, you're cool. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Let's face it, if I had not suffered in my family, in my family drama triangle, if my mom hadn't been this challenge for me, I would never have become an empathic person myself, which in turn makes me a responsive teacher who feels the needs of my students. And I wouldn't be here in the first place with these revelations. I wouldn't have launched this project. I wouldn't be so in love with psychology and humans in general. So the whole idea of structuring and analyzing everything that came to you intuitively and with the help of the TED is really, really terrific. And it gives the hope that we can handle almost everything by a shift from reacting habitually to choosing our response to every single life event, on condition that we exercise, of course, critical thinking to be able to step outside of ourselves. And with this awareness, look at the situation and say, there you are. So look at the roles with a different perspective and see the real needs and be honest. And honesty requires courage and brevity, of course. We have to take actions to exit this vicious circle, learn new patterns of behavior, develop new skills and communication competences, new communication competences that are unfamiliar. And the take-home message is that we have to be ready to transform and meet halfway only with those around you who are eager to move forward with you into the happy future, hand in hand. Thanks for listening to my lengthy, passionate speech, chaotic and slouchy at times. It's also part of personal therapy for me.